So on this side, you can see I've got the low, the high settings. Pretty basic carb. Throttle. And choke. And I'll have to see what that is. I don't know if that's like a gas return back to the gas tank. And you got your filter there at the bottom. And so we'll get all these off. I gotta go find myself a smaller screwdriver and perhaps some WD-40 to spray in on those screws. And I gotta find an air horn thing for this.
Can I help
you? Alright guys, a lot of these parts are really rusted. One of my needle valves is, it's probably not going to show up on there, but you can see it's cracked. This needle valve is actually broken. I might be able to salvage it. It's also bent. But you can see they're pretty bad. The internal part I think will be fine. I'm going to see. So I finally got these screws out. All these screws are just murderous to get out. And I've aligned so that my my stack row is there. So I take off the first one. Then I've got this little part. Next comes a gasket. And then this is the second one, number 2 right there. And then another filter, another gasket. Huh, bugs got in there somehow. And this is that bottom. Some rust in there. And then a bottom gasket. And this thing is completely frozen. So we're gonna end up taking these Welch plugs out. We're gonna change all this out. Get the Welch plugs out of there. And I've learned the hard way that underneath the Welch plugs there's that little plastic ball float valve thing. I've never successfully got one out. I know this one is solid. I'm gonna try to work it loose, but I'm not gonna try to remove it. I've never been able to successfully move one. That's it for now. Alright guys, I'm gonna try to pick this up on the video. It's not really focusing. But I got my Welch plugs off. Oh, there we go. And you can see how much crap is underneath these Welch plugs. Well, especially that one. I'm back on the Tillotson. It is an HR30A. It's off my 69 Scorpion snowmobile. There is, and this is for the choke, there's a little ball bearing in there. You can see that shiny little part down in there. I cannot get it off. I've tried everything. So I've got a game plan. I got a really small bit, the smallest one I own anyway. And I'm gonna drill a hole down through here, kind of behind the ball bearing, in hope that I can then kind of put a pin in there and kick that ball bearing out. I can't get the choke to work properly, stay open or closed, with that ball bearing stuck. Because that ball bearing's supposed to be pushed out more than that. This has been quite a project. It literally, I had to invent a tool. I think I already mentioned that. And I had to weld and something to get a bolt out, and it's just been a nightmare. But I got all my new parts. Now I'd film it, but I only have 2 hands. Alright, I drilled that tiny little hole there in the side. Pop that ball bearing out using a little pin. Now I gotta get that spring out. There's a spring back in there. So I'm gonna put some carb cleaner in there for a bit. And I might try to find a screw or something that is about that diameter that I can put down in there, screw into that spring, and pull that spring in. I'm not gonna be able to get that spring on camera. So I'm gonna most likely have to get a new spring. So, alright. Alright guys, Tillotson carb here, finished. Quite the rebuild. This came off that 69 Scorpion, and every single thing was frozen on it. These butterflies frozen, not just a little frozen, we're talking pretty bad. And then you can see a little bit of JB weld there. The spring and that little ball bearing, there's just absolutely no way I could get them out. So I had to drill a little hole there and kind of pry it out with the pin, and then just re-JB weld it. I got new screws for these. Mine were pretty bad. Well, one was broken. This here was stuck quite bad as well. Moves nicely now. Another thing I had to do to get this off is I had to take a screwdriver and bend a little 90 at the end so I could get in here and get the screws out, because there's just absolutely no way I could get this turned. I mean, I soaked it for days. I tried heat. I tried all sorts of different things, and there was no getting either one of those to budge. So having to invent special tools, on these things, guys, you gotta be careful, because not all parts are even available. So this thing, back from the dead, ready to go on the sled. I've got the sled, I got the cylinder, it's a 1-cylinder motor, and I got some, I put a bunch of a WD-40 down the cylinder. I'm trying to break the cylinder loose. So it's not likely I'm just going to put this carb on there until I tear the motor apart and see what's up. But before I do that, I want to see if I can get a gasket kit. But bam, shiny. That's the Tillotson. Fun little project.